Hey, what's up, y'all? Big Wooly here, and welcome back to episode 28 of our FTB Skies Expert Let's Play. So, today, we are going to get into quite a few things. Right here, you're going to see I have some steel cables from Ad Astra, some pretty simple stuff I went ahead and made. We're going to actually craft up some of the universal power cables from Mechanism so that we can start moving power around easier. We're going to get into making a flower that I can say goodbye to cake and only need, RF to make our mana for things mana steel related. And then I also have a couple of other things that I'm going to talk about with you guys with regards to just, like things that I would do earlier in my world. And if you happen to be watching me, but behind my progression or something, maybe you'll want to start on them sooner because they're just, stuff I've learned. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so first things first, these cables right here. So you have to make the Ad Astra steel cables, which will carry 1,024 gigawatts per tick, whatever the lightning bolt means. I'm just going to keep making fun of it like the whole time. But yeah, so you just take these here, and then you need the destabilized redstone that you get from your fractioning steel with volatile redstone. The redstone that we make over there that makes our redstone magnets. So split it up in here, and now your destabilized redstone, we're going to head over to our fluid encapsulator. And part of what we're doing, the reason we want these cables is so that we can eliminate this monstrosity right here. Going to show you some cool things with our energy transfer node and how that works. But to make the mechanism cables, we just need to take our destabilized redstone, get it into the fluid encapsulator with the Ad Astra cables, and that's going to craft us up the flux ducts that we got earlier. And then we will take these in our induction smelter with Certus quartz and infused alloy to make our universal cables. So let these finish up, and then we'll move over to the induction smelter. All right, here we are at the induction smelter. We're going to toss in the Certus quartz and the infused alloy, which we've already covered. And the flux duct, it's going to take 4 of these per craft to generate 8 of the basic universal cables. So that's why there's 6 and 6, is so that we should be able to, in theory, smelt this whole stack up into universal cables. There we go. So we'll let this finish up. And then while that's working, I want to show you this. So you guys that have noticed are, seeing me sit here and come by every now and then and just place an acacia log, and I needed something to place them for me. So the industrial foregoing block placer is the solution. We just crafted this up. Everything here we've made on camera except for a dropper, and it is literally just cobblestone or redstone. So the only issue I had with this was when I first put it down, it was not placing the blocks. I tried everything. I put a button down, y'all. Let me look at you. When I say everything, I mean everything. I'm like putting button down. Does it need a redstone signal? I tried it all, and it just wouldn't work. So that's when Reddit came to save the day. So Reddit says, well, if your chunks are claimed, and I'm like, yes, that's me. My chunks are claimed and loaded so that no matter where I am in the base, things are working, right? So in a claimed chunk, in order to get this to work, you are going to need to do a /FTB teams. And if you don't have a party already, you'll want to, create a party for yourself, even if you're in a single player world. I'm in a single player world. This is not a server. This is just on my PC. So /FTB teams party. And then you got to go to settings for your player name, allow fake players, true. And then when you do that, on the next pulse, now don't get freaked out, give it a second. The next time it comes around and tries to cycle it, it'll place it and start working. So now all we have to do is we're going to get acacia logs into the block placer. It will automatically place them. Fluid extractor will continue to extract latex, and then we don't have to worry about this sitting here not working because we haven't placed a log down. Super excited about getting that automated. Now, this is all going to move. I'm going to work on getting all of this automated and set up in a better position in between episodes. I don't know if it'll be this one or the next one, but things may just vanish. But I will try to cover the automation process with you before I move it, out of sight, out of mind, That way you guys know how to take care of it in your own worlds. So for the next thing tonight, what were we working on next? We are going to work on generating mana without cake, because making cakes are a pain, and we've got power coming in, and our setup to make power is generating more than we can use, and it's generating more fuel. So we're going to move into building this. It's the Energizer Bunny of flowers. Energizera. I don't know. You guys tell me how to say it in the comments below. I don't know. We're going to call it the Energizer Bunny. And that's going to be the flower we're going to go get set up. So give me a moment to shuffle around some inventory, and I'll meet you guys up there on our Botania Island. All right, so here we are over at our little smashy create setup. We've made all kinds of stuff here. Cake, everything else. We are going to make these flowers that take our RF and turn it into mana for us. And so it needs the deployer with red petals, green petals, and mana powder. And then we're going to take them all downstairs and charge them on the charger. So we put the flowers in this first one, and we turn it on, and we're going to let all of them get, smash-dashed with the flower. Did it really just break? Fully repaired. There's a squid in there. Oh, we are overstressed. Oh, there we go. We'll just break that off for now. So there we have it. All 4 of them turned into incompletes. Now the green petals. Now the mana powder. All right, let's shut our water wheels off. Downstairs, let's kick on our Energizer. We should be able to do them all at once. You guys know the drill on this. I'm gonna let it roll. I'll come back when it's done. All right, there we have it. 4 Energizer Bunny flowers. All right, so now we need to be able to take these flowers and get them up here with our mana setup and figure out a way to get power to them. So I think I can do it with, I know the thermal cell will send power to these RF-based flowers. I'm not exactly sure what other mechanisms we have for getting power to them. So give me a moment just to look through my options. All right, so I was trying to figure this out. I tried putting down some energy cable and sending power to it. It didn't work. I tried sending wireless power directly to the flower. It didn't work. But if I brought my energy cube over and I send power directly to the energy cube wirelessly, as you can see, the little red lines and all, and this is pumping mana, we are making mana with our RF to mana setup here, but it requires our one and only energy cube. However, we're about to head to the moon, y'all, and we will be able to make more of these energy cubes coming up. I was looking into whether the thermal, the RF cells from thermal, so at thermal, you can use these for it. I know the flux cell, wherever it is, right? These. So we use these, and then you have to inject them in this one with volatile redstone in a chemical injection chamber, which we need a purification chamber plus osmium. We need osmium. We need all that moon stuff, y'all. I mean, we can technically, we could get to osmium before the moon, but I ain't dealing with it. It's a process. And if I can avoid it and don't have to do it, I will wait until after the moon because we're real close. So speaking of the moon, I'm still working on the space plating. So this space plating stuff, we're going to need, it's over 800 of these, of the space plating. And the space plating is aluminum, copper, and steel, all smashed into a plate. So we need 800 of each of those smashed into a plate. Combined, it's going to take me a minute just to do it all because I don't have plate being made automatically. It looks like going forward in the pack, I probably need to get these plates being just made constantly and then have them either fill up and shut off or void them. I would rather fill up and shut off than waste resources, but we will work on figuring that out. But this gets us through making mana. We're going to fill a mana pool. It will not take long, and we are definitely not using more power than we're making. So cube is never dropping, and we're feeding it from our power gen setup downstairs. And if we come look down here at our brushes, it's still maintaining. We are not dropping power below here. And if you look at the pulses there, every time it lights up, so when it's sending power, we're not like spamming sending power out. So we should definitely be able to keep up pretty much indefinitely with making the required power to fill our mana pool. So now, next things for today is going to be just working on some other general things. We are going to need to get a bunch, and I do mean a bunch of steel made, heavy engineering blocks for all of the rocket ship, a ton of steel blocks. We need 4 steel blocks for a rocket, 2 heavy engineering blocks, and then we need a ton of components. We're going to need these dynamic tanks, which take a ton of steel. I'm just going to be working on some just general resource generation. You will see right here, though, I've been waiting on all of these to run out so that I can swap these out for their ender tank, counterparts, or ender drawer counterparts. So now we can take our last 2 ender drawers that aren't up there, and at max, you see they hold 8,192. So that's the goal, is to keep them right around that vicinity. And these other drawers are staying full, meaning that our resource generation for the raw materials to sift is keeping up on the other side of these ender drawers. Now, I did not ever go over how to pair ender drawers with you guys, and there are 3 more materials that I want to be auto sifting. I need a waterlogged sand, I need soul sand, and I need crushed netherrack. And then after we go to the moon and we can upgrade our meshes, we're going to want crushed stone as well, because that is going to be an infinite source of ender pearls for us. But for today, we want to get through soul sand, waterlogged sand, and crushed netherrack. So I'm going to go get some stuff together to set these up automatically, and I will make sure that we wait and we pair these ender drawers together. So give me a second here, and I will get all that together, and we'll get this done. All right, y'all. Continuing in the vein of some base upgrades, noticing that our gravel's keeping up, dirt's keeping up, but sand is not keeping up, and that is because of it's being used for 2 things. It's being used for the dust and for the sand to generate for our setup. So the last thing we want is to run out of sand and then run out of whatever it is we need. So from quest rewards, we had gotten these tier upgrades that you can insert up to 5 of them into a pedestal to increase the speed. So we're going to put some speed upgrades in. You just place them in your offhand, and then you right click on the pedestal you want to put them in. And I'd already put one in just to make sure I knew how to do it and didn't sound like a dummy on camera with you guys. So we're going to just go ahead and see about maxing out our speed upgrades on this here pedestal, because I don't think... So there we go. It's got all 5 now. I don't think we're going to run into a problem with its ability to get it into the drawer, but we definitely want to start getting net gains on the amount of sand sitting in this drawer. So we'll keep an eye on this over the course of while we're working and see if we're seeing those net gains and go from there. But the other reason we're down here is I had talked about showing you guys how to pair up these ender drawers, because it is kind of a wonky little process that if you've never done it before can be confusing. It tells you right here on the thing that if you left click an ender drawer, you store the frequency, and sneak right click in the air clears it, but it doesn't necessarily tell you that sneak right click will actually place the frequency of the stored drawer onto another one. So here's how I recommend doing it. Lay your drawers out in pairs because you're not setting up an ender drawer if you're not going to be using it somewhere else. So I like to set them up in pairs, and then what I like to do is I like to grab one of the resource that I want to move, and then this way when we get the right frequency on its partner, we'll know. So we can left click the top of the drawer. Don't do the face because it'll just take the item out. Left click the top of the drawer, and then on the top of the drawer here, we're going to sneak and right click. And you'll know you've done it right when the two of them are both showing your one. And if you take the item out, put it back in, there you go. So now we know we have these two linked properly. So let's go ahead and take out our drawer that we're currently pumping full. And we'll do just like we did with the other ones. We're going to put this ender drawer in here for now. And I'll carry the other one over, but not set it up. This will allow this drawer to build up a buffer of soul sand while we use all of the soul sand that's in here and empty this drawer out. So now we can pick this one up, put it in our inventory. We've got soul sand handled. The other thing that we needed to get over there is crushed netherrack. So we're going to need netherrack, but we're going to need to take it and process it into crushed netherrack, which I think we're going to do with another auto hammer, which I have not made, but I will make it between when we move over to the other place and this clip here. So I'll have it with us when we get over there, but here's the same thing. Now look, this has a stored frequency. Shift, right click it in the air to clear it. Left click the top of your drawer. Shift right click the one you want to pair it with. Now we have a paired ender drawer for our netherrack, and we can actually take and add another, it doesn't care how many ender drawers you have on that frequency. So if we need netherrack in more than one spot, you can always take that netherrack and come in here, grab the frequency again with your linking tool, and then link it up. Now, these are kind of weird with the linking tool. Like, I can't click on these to add them, but if you put it in multiple, what I would do is make sure it's in multiple, make sure we're on add, and click the drawer on one side of it, drag over to the next regular drawer, and then it will link them. I had the hardest time trying to get it to link these by clicking on them, but there we have it. Now we've got these two both on an ender drawer, and then we're going to prep one more for later. We are going to need crushed endstone once we get done going to space, because crushed endstone is going to be an infinite source of ender pearls for us. So I want to go ahead and get this drawer set up for us and let it start filling, even though we don't have the ability to sift this for ender pearls yet, but we will in the very near future. And now that drawer is there. We'll clear this, go right here. We'll get it linked up as well. And now we've got 3 more things being generated with our automated resource generation on pedestals. And it does look like we're going to need to make another source of sand for the dust. We may even need to make 2 more sources of sand or come up with a better method for getting our sand, because this is just not fast enough. I don't know if maybe that's because that we have to have a pickaxe because it's chiseled sandstone. Yeah, I'm not real sure what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to do something to speed up the production of that sand, or just add a couple more sand setups to pipe sand in. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. I'll let you guys know what I come up with as a solution. So now let's head over and work on getting the 2 additional resources set up that we were talking about. So I'll meet you guys out on the island. All right, y'all. So here we are. We've got our crushed netherrack added in. Sorry I didn't bring you guys in as soon as I started. These villagers just, that guy's no good, so he will be exited from the series. Yes, sorry, I digress. So here we are. Got you set up for your crushed netherrack to get sifted right here. We had plenty of these auto hammers from how we were processing our resources before. So what we're going to do is we just took it and I had to place it down. And if you'll look, I got like every tool under the sun out in my inventory. I was figuring out what I could use to rotate it. So the red side is your output side, the blue side is your input side. So I had to spin this around until it started working the items through. This is one of those shulker boxes that we got from the Nether Villages. It was just a storage that I could stick here, and I was like, hey, it's red, kind of goes with the crushed netherrack. So like I said, we'll empty this drawer of netherrack before we put our ender drawer here. That'll give plenty of time for the ender drawer to get filled up. So we're going to start placing those back down. The next one we need to get sifting is our... Why is there only 64 soul sand? We'll have to figure out why that's not putting a bunch of soul sand in there in a minute. But for now, we can take the drawer that's got 16,000 soul sand in it, and we're going to stick it right here. Now, this last one is going to be for waterlogged sand, but due to our limitations on sand, noticing that we're running out of it, it's not keeping up with the production we need. I'm not going to add the waterlogged sand just yet, but that will show up, and I will tell you guys what I did for a solution to get our waterlogged sand here. And then when we get to our next tier of mesh, as I said, we'll need to set up one more of these hammer setups for our endstone here, so that we can get crushed endstone into the system so that we have an infinite source of ender pearls. We're getting a pretty good amount of ender pearls from our mob farm. However, I just don't think that amount of ender pearls is actually going to keep up in the long run with a resource gen. Now, one other problem I've noticed is that we are backing up in our ender chest. In other words, even though I made ultimate pipes all the way to the top tier mechanism pipes, I am not getting the stuff out of the ender chest fast enough that it's not backing up. So as you see, we've got a backup started in here. Now, some of this is we just introduced new resources, and I don't think some of these things are on drawers. But even before we added the new ones in, things were just not evacuating out of the ender chest fast enough for us. So I'm going to have to come up with another method, because I'm guessing that even the ultimate logistical transporters just don't have enough items capacity to keep up with our system here. So that is something that I'm going to have to work out in between this episode and the next one. And then, as you saw right there, the whole time I've been working on all of this, I have been processing through my space material here just as fast as we can get it made. So I've got another one ready right there. I set up over here, added in a drawer to feed in coal so that this stays full of coal and is continually making steel for us. And then I am smelting up all the ores for our copper and our aluminum so that we can get to enough material for our space stuff, because it needs a lot. And a lot of this I would like to automate. I just need to learn more about mechanism pipes, although it seems like they may not be fast enough to keep up with the things that we need. So let's go take a peek and see how we're doing on plates. We're actually done with the plates I had in there. So what do we have in here? Yep, let's grab like 5 more of each of these. And there's 4 more steel. And if I get all of this material plated up, we should be ready with our 900 space plating to start making all of the pieces for our first rocket, which I don't think is going to make it into the episode today. Today is just more of a housekeeping and working on stuff that, quite frankly, we should have gotten a lot of this going several episodes ago. Because, you know, it's just, this is an expert pack, and I am lagging behind on our resource generation. So if you're watching through this series afterwards, don't procrastinate. Take some of this automation stuff as soon as you can, even if you have to do it on water wheels and get super creative with like a deployer on each water wheel, repairing it with andesite alloy or something to keep the water wheels running, or just a diesel generator or 2, however you have to set it up. You definitely want to start as soon as you possibly can with automated resource generation. I would still recommend kind of waiting on a permanent setup until you at least get to mana steel, where you start getting the whole ores rather than the pieces. But it might be necessary, honestly, to get through some of it before then. So, what do we have left that I had said I was going to cover today? I'm not exactly sure. Airbending and you. Oh, I made a heat sink. Because I was trying to make some more proto-chorus for our drawers, and I needed to get things cooler. So I needed a heat sink to dissipate the heat from the other side to get our thermopneumatic processing plant cold enough, and that worked like a champ. So, what are we waiting on? You here are waiting on enough pressure to import things. Okay, so that's just waiting to build up enough pressure to move things along again. And we are pretty much just waiting on our resources to be able to progress. I have most of the stuff together for the launch pad, but I'm planning to save that to do the rocket, the launch pad, and potentially the oxygen loader all in one episode, just so that it can be like all about going to space. Not sure where they came from, but somehow there were 6 inert crystals in our pedestal here for our soul sand, which was why it was not accumulating more soul sand in the previous clip. As we can see, even with our speed upgrades, our material generator just isn't keeping up. And I think maybe it's because the speed upgrades actually don't affect the material generation rate with pedestals, but I'm not familiar enough with pedestals to know that. So I'm going to have to do some digging in their book or their wiki, wherever that information is. And like I said, when I figure out what I do for a solution for our sand problem, I will let you guys know what that solution ended up being and kind of show it to you in a video. So I'm sort of running out of things to do other than just it's kind of tedious. It's a little bit, honestly, it's some sort of the boring part of big mod pat like this is I'll be piddling around, running around the base, just moving aluminum plate over to our pressure chamber and getting it turned into space material and then turning it into space plating. And that's going to be the next couple hours or so of just passive time while I'm doing laundry and other things around the house. I'll also be popping over here, moving that material around and letting it get converted the way it needs to. So I hope you guys have actually gotten something out of today's episode, and it looks like, unless I have a giant oversight, that in the next episode we should be headed to the moon. Finally. It's going to take a minute, and I'm going to have to get a ton of resources together off camera. I mean, I haven't even made the list yet, but we are going to need a ton of all of these blocks. Let me know in the comments below, is that something you'd like to see? If I, make up a spreadsheet of exactly how many pieces of each of these materials you're going to need before you can head to the moon, would you guys like that information? Do you want it on screen in a video where it's like, you're going to need 8 billion of these, 476,000 of those? Let me know, because I would like to make these videos where you guys are actually getting things out of them and enjoy watching them. So with that said, thanks for watching today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed it, and we will see you all next time.